Starting small, experimenting frequently, and learning from the market are some of the lean principles that organizations and startups have increasingly adopted in recent years. However, one aspect of the business appears to be operating in the same way today: branding. Now, one might question, how do you measure a startup's branding success? What are the key points to remember when measuring a startup's branding? If you want to find out, then make sure to stay tuned until the end. Companies' branding initiatives, however, would benefit from being run through the same real-world filter as the rest of the business process. The myth that a self-proclaimed brand genius can lock himself in a room and emerge with the ideal solution has been debunked. The most successful businesses today understand that getting audience input will help you develop and refine your brand and produce much better outcomes. While measuring the human emotion evoked by brands is more challenging than measuring basic measures like revenue or page views, it is not impossible. You can use a variety of indirect proxy indicators to accurately determine how your audience feels about your brand. We can acquire factual information about the effectiveness of our branding initiatives and discover what actually works by using these emotional value metrics. We all prefer to believe that we make logical decisions, but this is rarely the case. In actuality, most people's interactions with brands, whether they be through sharing, buying, or engaging, are motivated by an underlying unspoken set of expectations about the company. These behaviors can be utilized with accuracy as a heuristic to determine which branding initiatives are having the desired effect on your audience and which ones aren't because of their emotional character. You can accurately determine which messages resonate with your audience in the real world by using these mini-tests. Interaction. Any relationship must begin with interaction. Interaction occurs whenever a user shows some sort of affinity for a message and what it has to say. It's easy to measure interaction. Has a client acted after hearing about your emotional value offering? As an illustration, does anyone click the link? Do they pass the doors on foot? They watch the video, right? Does the email get open? You should consider interaction to be a non-exclusive, accommodating action that enables a client to flirt with the business without committing to a formal relationship. Even if you've test-driven a Tesla, chances are you don't actually own one. Many companies stop here, which is a mistake. It feels fantastic to interact, especially because it's a game of large numbers. For a small business or startup, having hordes of Facebook friends and thousands of Twitter followers can be very self-gratifying. Be careful not to mistakenly equate interaction with the depth that emotional worth can and should be attuned to. Interaction is not something to boast about to investors. Rather, it serves as a foundation from which to build a relationship. Digging deeper than clicks and likes and beginning to elucidate the motivations behind these behaviors is necessary to find value. Engagement. The next level of emotional depth is engagement. Engagement occurs when a client actively participates in a conversation with you. The quality of the interaction and the extent to which a customer will go after interacting with your brand determine engagement. After clients connect with you, keep track of their responses to the questions you're asking them in order to gauge the level of involvement. Will a client provide their email address to you? Do they register to place pre-orders? Do they support your crowdsourcing effort? Does anyone provide feedback on your post? Engagement is going steady. As the old-timers would say, if interaction is fast dating. When a customer chooses to interact with you, they are typically choosing you as the business in your niche that they relate to most. The eyewear industry is transforming nearly entirely thanks to Warby Parker. Their trick? A radically engaged consumer base has been created by their home try-on offer, which sends 5 pairs of their glasses to potential customers' homes for a 5-day cost-free try-on. This is in addition to their excellent designs and a reasonable price point. Even though it shows a definite level of emotional value, engagement can be deceptively fleeting. All it takes for a customer to leave you is for another business to enter the market at the proper time with a more alluring offer if your relationship stalls at the engagement level. Engagement alone will not sustain your emotional value in the long run. You must take part in order to do that. Participation. The relationship between a brand and its customers has no deeper emotional value than participation. Participation occurs when a customer shows genuine, unwavering love for you by taking actions to demonstrate it. Because the behaviors are less concrete than the other emotional value indicators, measuring participation may be more challenging. However, those that fit the aforementioned description do exhibit certain observable behaviors. Does a buyer, for instance, boast about their purchase? Do you regularly have attendees at your events? Do they enlist people in support of the cause? Are they happy to introduce themselves as a client? If communication is fast and the relationship is steady, Identity is a devoted, overlasting union. An excellent example of a company that has achieved this degree of engagement is Tough Mudder. In addition to enjoying the outdoor obstacle race competitions, their patrons take satisfaction in the fact that they fit the profile for participation. Instead of doing these things to support the company, they do them because they are truly proud of themselves. Because it converts average consumers into fervent brand enthusiasts, this is the strongest type of customer-brand interaction. When someone interacts, they can start to adopt your brand's identity, getting to that intriguing point where phrases like Mac Guy, Coke Lover, and Gucci Girl join the narrative. It's also the point at which getting Harley-Davidson tattoos and naming your kids Twitter or Facebook start to make sense. Your audience and you start to blend together more and more in a dynamic way. Your emotional value becomes irreplaceable when that line is compromised. A startup's brand development should always be optimized for involvement. It is the strongest connection you can have. How can one measure emotional value? These 3 indicators can be used to create a plan for gauging the emotional worth of your brand. Customers' behavior needs to be monitored in order to determine which stage they're in. The size of your business is the single most important element that'll determine how to go about doing it. Get outside the building and in front of clients if you're a small business or startup to take the greatest and most crucial approach. Meet with people, discover their needs, talk about their difficulties, and hear about their dreams. Every business owner has heard this advice before, but few take it seriously. This must change. In the early phases of a startup, you must interact with customers in person to understand how they feel about your brand and their feedback on your product. Companies who fail to do this run the risk of succumbing to the "if you build it, they'll come" fallacy, also known as the field of dreams fallacy. Sadly, this isn't always scalable, and larger businesses will require other tools in their toolbox. Thanks to technology, we can now understand clients on a larger scale than just through focus groups and surveys. Since the indicators of contact, participation, and engagement will vary depending on the firm, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Your ingenuity is your only constraint. Customers will unavoidably act in some way to show that they have advanced along the emotional value stream. It's your responsibility to identify and monitor the behavior in question. Always be mindful not to go too far with this. Technology can aid in the digestibility of enormous amounts of data, but it cannot do the digestion for you. Analytics won't always provide you with a whole picture. The most valuable instrument you have is your brain. You must manually connect the dots in the answers that technology gives you. Experiment frequently, fail quickly, track your findings, verify your presumptions, and build on what's successful. Building genuine, enduring, and intentional relationships is at the heart of branding. Brands engender devotion and allegiance from consumers. People give a lot of thought to the brands they purchase and what that reveals about them. People care about the distinctions between Coke and Pepsi, Apple and PC, Walmart and Target. Why? Because their relationship with them is important to us. Avoid acquiring value tunnel vision. Recognize the value of emotional appeal in your brand development activities and use it to strengthen your rapport with customers. Let us know how you would measure a startup's branding in the comment section. And if you enjoyed watching this video, then please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more such amazing videos.